Hello everyone, it's Tyler. This is a follow-up update from my big life update video back in January when I detailed the current events unfolding in my life and the trauma I have suffered from the past half a decade of being a caretaker for my dementia-diagnosed grandfather. So if you haven't seen that video, it might be a wise idea to give that one a watch before watching this one. As always, my goals with these videos are not to spread harassment, so as such, like I've said countless times before, do not track down, witch hunt, or harass anyone involved in this situation. I ask that you please respect my wishes, especially considering this will be the last time I talk about these people for the foreseeable future. This video is also going to get pretty heavy as well. You guys will get to see the entire process of what it was like going through my bedroom of 22 years and seeing all of the things that made me happy when I was a kid. This is a very vulnerable part of me, and I once again thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for watching this, for supporting me for so long, and for being by my side when I needed you most. Thank you. At the time of this exact recording, it is currently the night of May 10th, 2026, aka Mother's Day. A day you're supposed to cherish with your mother, and a day you're supposed to look back on with fond memories. Maybe go out to dinner, eat breakfast together, but today my day was spent packing memories into boxes, crying, and watching my mom slowly spiral into tears as we discussed everything that's happened in our lives the past few years. That is how my Mother's Day of 2026 has gone. A day that, when my mom passes, I am going to have to remember and relive for the rest of my life. My childhood home has been sold, and the closing date is May 28th. And since I uploaded that video earlier in the year, I've gotten a response from family member A. They saw my video, which I figured they would probably see at some point. The video where I was the most vulnerable I have ever been in my entire life. And you want to know what their response was? Instead of denying all of the things that I had said, in a text they had sent to my mom, I was called unhinged, erratic, unpredictable, and dangerous, and that I needed serious help. A lot of adjectives that were thrown at me, however, liar wasn't one of them. You see, what a lot of you have told me based off of the experience I've had, we are dealing with textbook narcissists. People who are trying to convince us that we are the ones in the wrong, and that we are the problem. But you want to know something? None of what this person has said to me has remotely bothered me in the slightest, because it did nothing but prove my point this entire time. I got told all those adjectives, unpredictable, erratic, all that shit, right? This is spoken by the same individual who caused a scene cursing and screaming in front of my grandfather's recently deceased body. A moment I initially believed was going to be a somber moment where the family would be united and comfort each other, that was turned into a despicable moment that my grandfather heard as he was leaving this earth. Now, I don't know about you, but I never did any of that. All of this was said because I simply spoke out about what I saw. That, my friends, is called projecting. Someone with such severe anger issues that they could flip on a dime, and I've observed all of this throughout my years of being in this house. It's absolutely baffling to me the amount of hypocrisy that is still flowing out of this fucking family. And because I'm the one who holds people accountable and called it out, because I had half the fucking balls to get out here and say something and put mine and my grandfather's story out there, I am the one who becomes a victim of gaslighting and manipulation. But you know what? I'm done. For once in my 22 years of existence, I am finally done. This is my final message to my quote-unquote family who has drastically changed our lives forever. My grandfather passed away that morning only knowing two people. The two people who were by his side for 2 decades. The two people who stepped up and ensured that he was taken care of while sacrificing major parts of their life to do so. The two people who gave up so much to ensure that the rest of this goddamn family could live their lives while we were in pain every single day. And you could say whatever you want. Pull every excuse out of your ass possible. Attempt to gaslight me as much as you fucking want. But at the end of the day, we can say that we not only did the right thing, but we gave my grandfather life when the rest of you weren't even there. He died not even knowing who you were. And one phone call a week would have changed that. And I hope you sit there and you think about that. I hope it keeps you awake at night the same way we had to stay awake to ensure that he was still breathing. I hope it eats away at you for the rest of your lives, like his dementia ate away at him. Now, everything I just said, it wasn't even a threat. I didn't wish harm upon any of them. Even after all of this, I have never done that. With all that we've been put through, I could say so much worse if I truly wanted to, but I didn't. I just want you to feel what it's like. Congratulations. You're each a couple $100,000 richer. Use that to go on your family vacations to Mexico. Spend it on alcohol. Take a trip to the casino. Go ahead. But no amount of money in the world can buy you the morals that you lack, the empathy and the perspective that you refuse to look at. And above all, it sure as hell can't get you the memories that we have made. But after one of you have just told my mom to drop dead, all because I saw what you said about me behind my back, you could take your money, your shitty morals, your stupid principles, and your adjectives, and go fuck yourselves. And there we go. I cannot tell you how badly I have been wanting to do that. They don't want to come near me in real life. That's the best that I'm gonna get. And that right there will be the last time, for a very long time, that their mere presence comes out of my mouth. The rest of this update will be more focused on what it's like leaving my childhood home, as well as where I'm going next, introducing you guys to my real family, and of course capping it off with what's next for my channel and the future. If you want to come along on this new chapter of my life, I will be forever grateful. The following are videos that I have taken in the final moments of my childhood home, before everything came down. There's a lot of parts to my life that I want to share with you guys, so let's go. Well, this right here is the place that I've spent the last almost 23 years of my life in. My childhood bedroom. Man, I just wanted to record a video of it all before we take everything down. And by the end of the month, all of this will be empty. And it fucking hurts. This right here is the place where I went to bed every night. Same place I woke up every morning to go to school, to go to breakfast with my grandfather and my mom. Be it not the same TV, of course. This is where I played Minecraft for the first time in my life. It's where I played a lot of other games that founded my childhood. Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, of course, the old WWE games. This is the same stand that I've had for the past, 14, 15, maybe even 16 years. It was big enough for my old TV, but when I eventually upgraded to a bigger screen, it didn't fit. So my grandfather, he put a giant piece of wood on top of the TV stand so my new TV could fit. That is the ceiling that I would sit and stare at every day. To you guys, it's just white, just drywall or whatever the fuck, but I can't tell you how many nights I've stood just staring up at the ceiling, struggling to sleep, thinking about the next day. As you can see, judging by the Angry Birds poster, I've kept a lot of that stuff up over the years because it just reminds me of when I was a kid. Every night, my grandfather would, well, I say every night, typically around 2 to 3 a.m., I would hear this. I'd hear my doorknob jiggling. And, of course, me being young and staying up late, it always startled me because I was awake when it happened. My grandfather would be standing right here, because I always lock the door every night, and he would come in and while I'm sleeping, pick the lock so he can come in and turn my TV off, because he was conscious about like the electricity bill and whatnot, so he always came in to turn off my TV every night because I would always fall asleep with it on. And that's one of the things right there that I miss the most about him. Before, when I was a kid, it used to scare me, and eventually it just, ticked me off more than anything. But, sometimes I go to sleep at night and I just imagine that that door is opening and that it's him. I try to imagine that sometimes. That was a hand-drawn Joker portrait that I did for my painting and drawing class in high school. My mom loved it so much, she really wanted me to hang it up in my room. So yeah, I drew that myself. That's that stupid little fucking golf ball of a squirrel. Hold on, let me see if I can show you. Look at how fucking fat and round he is. This was the first ever thing that I ever drew in my painting and drawing classes. This was freshman year of high school. I don't know if you guys can read that, but that was 2018. These right here are my girlfriend and I. We call them our children. Just a bunch of our stuffed animals and stuff. That one's our, I don't want to say favorite, but we call him Axolotl Friend. And he's just, yeah, he's a real piece of shit, him especially since we have 2 versions. But these little guys, we've gotten a new one every so often that we've been here. A couple of them. These 2 we got from the local fair on a date my girlfriend and I went on the first year we were together. As you can see, those are, of course, the infamous Minecraft movie Happy Meals and stuff that they had came out with. I had saved a box and my girlfriend saved hers over there just to mark a very special moment in my life. You look around my room and it's just so much childhood stuff that you can see like tells the story of my life in a lot of ways. This right here was my U2's collection. I got a couple Funko Pops up there. I've collected U2's figures for years, and I've always had them on display over here. I always got a lot for things like my birthday, for Christmas, stuff like that. My mom would always get them for me, and as you can see, I've built up quite the collection. I even have the I don't know if you guys can see it that well. This phone's camera is not that good. The Lunch Club poster, signed by Jay Schlatt. Yeah, if you remember them back in 2020. It's a little bit messy over here, but bear with me right now. This is my first ever WWE Championship replica title belt. I wanted these so bad when I was a kid, and one day my mom and my grandfather surprised me with one in, I believe it was, I want to say 2016 or 2017, they surprised me with one of these. I can't remember what year it was, but they got me this for my birthday, and I love it. I always keep it on display. This right here is, if you've watched my channel for years, you might remember this was my 3rd grade project. This came off, but this was my 3rd grade project that I had made back in 2012 or 2013, I can't remember. I believe it was 2013. So 13 years ago I made this box, and I've customized it with a whole bunch of stuff. I was supposed to make it all about, I think, 3 different things that I loved at the time. And they've all fallen off now, but I had Pokemon cards glued onto the back of this thing. Oh god, this is so fucking dusty. I had, John Cena and WWE stuff on here. And of course, the big one, Minecraft. My girlfriend, a couple years ago, she got me a autograph from Dan TDM. Yes, this is a real autograph, real autograph from Dan TDM, and I keep this in my childhood box. Got my Creeper plushie in here. One of my many John Cena action figures. And then different papers writing about each topic. Yeah, as you can see, my handwriting is not the best. And then on the back of this one from Minecraft, of course, it's when I'm older, I want to be a YouTuber and make videos like Sky Does Minecraft and Dan TDM. This is a box that I'll probably carry with me for the rest of my life. But for the first time ever, it's going to be leaving my childhood home. You guys, it's probably hard to see because the sun's going down, but these are a lot of old Pokemon Elite trainer boxes that I would open. Shining Fates, that came out in 2021. That was when I decided to return to Pokemon cards as a hobby in 2021 after not collecting any for like over half a decade. I don't know if you guys can see, but up there, those are all my old Skylanders. They're the Skylanders. The portal's, I think, right there. And I got a lot of like statues and like little figurines and stuff. Because back in 2014, I don't know if you guys know what Loot Crate is or what Loot Crate was. Back in 2014, my mom would get them for me every month, and they would every month was like a different theme, and they would have different knickknacks, different figures, collectibles, and stuff like that. This right here was a Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees mask that I made myself for Halloween. I used to be obsessed with, I say used to be, but so obsessed with anything horror related, Jason, Michael. I believe I made this in 2017, I believe. I was 14 years old. I made this for Halloween that year. Because I was going through a big Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th phase. And I made this myself. I bought a cheap hockey mask. It was white, and I painted it myself. I damaged and scruffed it up a little bit. And I even imprinted the axe wound from one of my favorite Friday the 13th Part 3, where he gets struck in the head with the axe. So I guess technically this is a Part 4 mask. Okay, back in 2020, I started a vinyl collection. It's very, very small, at least compared to a lot of people. I know a lot of people own a lot of vinyls. This was my newest one. This is from my favorite band, Ghost. This was Meliora, their album. This was from their 10th anniversary last year, so I got this one. I got a work of art from Ice Nine Kills. This little vinyl, one of my favorite songs. Of course, I couldn't pass on the opportunity to get the Minecraft movie soundtrack last year on vinyl. This was a pretty cool. Yeah, it's I'm not gonna take the vinyls out, obviously, but this is like a lava type. It's like orange tie-dye, and it's got, I think, a cobblestone block in the center, which is really cool. Beetlejuice. I actually got this bundled with my Minecraft movie vinyl. I got this bundled with that and one other that's behind this one. So I got like 3 very, very nice, beautiful, high-quality vinyls for like, I think it was less than $100. So this was also a movie that meant a lot to me. I have vivid memories of going to see this a couple years ago with my girlfriend and my mom, and that's actually where I met back up with Luke, my friend Luke, my childhood friend Luke. You may know him as Peach, and it was a complete accident seeing him there, and I got to sit there and talk with him for the first time in a couple years. So this was a special movie, and it was a special day for me, and I wanted to make sure I remembered it with the vinyl. This right here was the Amazing Spider-Man soundtrack. Now this right here is my favorite Spider-Man movie. Andrew Garfield, I grew up with him. This is my favorite Spider-Man suit of all time. I only paid $10 for this vinyl, and I can't believe I got such a great deal on it. I got this bundled with the Beetlejuice and the Minecraft movie one for $10, and I got another piece of my childhood here. This is another Ghost vinyl. This is their newest album, Skeleton. Very beautiful record. Again, I would show it to you guys if I didn't want to take it out. Oh god. Oh man. The original 1999 Christmas album Schlatt made. I wasn't gonna pass this up, so I got this a few years back. Welcome to Horrorwood, Ice Nine Kills, another one of my favorite bands. I got this when I went to the convention to actually meet the lead singer of the band last year, and this is where I picked it up. So this one means a lot to me as well. Right here, right now, the soundtrack from the official movie. This movie also meant a lot to me. This is Ghost, of course, again. Very funny story with this movie, with my mom. I believe I've told it on my TikTok channel, but maybe one day if you guys are interested, I'd be happy to share it with you guys here. Twisters, another phenomenal movie. Summer of 2024 was, it was both a rough one and a good one with a lot of memories behind it. It was about a year after my grandfather had passed away, and I really wanted to try to make that summer as memorable as I could in honor of him, and we went out, we watched a lot of movies, tried our best to enjoy ourselves despite the enormous amount of grief we were going through at the time. So that time period is a very special moment in my life, and a lot of these vinyls, as you can tell, symbolize that. Season 4 of Stranger Things back in 2022. This is the soundtrack from that. Another really big point in my life that I look back on very fondly. It's like every single Stranger Things season that ever came out, I remember so much about my life at that point. I remember spring of 2022 like it was yesterday, man. Of course, same thing with the original Stranger Things vinyl. This was the first Stranger Things vinyl that I got out of the 2. I got this a while ago. But underneath this one is the first record that I ever got. And the first, I guess, album that convinced me to start vinyl collecting as well. and that's After Hours, The Weekend. This album also means a lot to me. 2020 is a very rough year for me, and of course Blinding Lights was a song that got me through some really tough times, and this was the first vinyl that I had ever bought. All in all, over about a 6-year collection. I'd say it's not too bad. I know there are people that, you know, have way more records than this, but I got into vinyl collecting, obviously because of the Weekend album that I had mentioned earlier, but also my grandfather was a pretty big proponent of this. He would tell me all these stories about going to the diner and stuff like that, them having the jukebox there, and teaching me how records were back in the day, about how, you know, that was like the main way to listen to music and everything, since he was around in the 50s and whatnot. So records and vinyls in general are something that I also collect in honor of him. And I showed him a few of these before he had passed away, and I'd sit in his room and I'd listen to some vinyls with him. Of course, a lot of it not being his music, you know, he wasn't too into the music itself, but he was a lot into teaching me about vinyls, about records, how to use them, how to treat them, how to take care of them, teach me how to use a record player, of course. So it's because of him I collect records, and I probably will for the rest of my life as like a little side thing. Oh boy, of course, these are big ones. These are my old Ben 10 Omnitrix toys that I had, and these, if you couldn't tell already by the fact that the paint's been worn to high hell on them, these were my favorite toys when I was a kid, and you could definitely tell in the way that they've been played. Ben 10 was my favorite show when I was a little kid. Nothing even came close to it. The strap on the original Omnitrix toy here, that's been long gone. But this toy right here, this one means a lot to me. Same thing with this one over here. This is my Alien Force one. Oh, that's so much fun. It's so satisfying. It's a great fidget thing. This is from Ben 10 Alien Force, the sequel to the original Ben 10 classic show. And believe me, I have way more Ben 10 toys than just these two, and maybe if I find them while recording this video, I'll show you guys. But these two Omnitrixes right here, these were like my bread and butter. They went everywhere I went, and these are what made me feel like I was a real-life superhero when I was a little boy. This was my Pokemon binder from when I was a little kid. I say binder, but I got this back in, I think, 2021, but all the cards that are in here, a lot of them are from when I was little. There's a couple new ones from when I got back into the hobby very briefly in 2021, but let me show you guys. There's a lot of pages, so I'm just going to show you guys the big ones. Here, as you can see here, we got a Mega Charizard Secret Rare EX. This card's pretty beaten up. I actually got this in a trade a while back in like, what, 5th grade maybe? 4th or 5th grade? Got a page full of level X's. This one in particular, Arceus level X, this was a card that my childhood friend Nick always wanted from me, but I never traded it to him. This page back here is probably my favorite, because it has the original full art Reshiram and full art Zekrom from base Black and White way back in, come on, focus, 2011. Yeah, I remember it very vividly. I had the full art, I pulled the full art gold Zekrom card when I was a little kid, and I don't know where it is. I've spent like over a decade looking around the house for it, and I feel like I just lost it forever. Can you tell that Black and White were my favorite games growing up? This actually means a lot to me. These are my grandfather's binoculars that he had given me back in 2019 when we went to go see WrestleMania 35 in MetLife Stadium. We were all the way up in the nosebleeds, and he wanted to make sure that I was able to see everything. These were the binoculars that he used during his time in the Air Force, and he wanted me to have them. As you can see from the very beat-up top, it has his initials on top. It's just another piece of him that I keep with me, and always will keep with me. And then there used to be another dresser that was right here, but back in 2020 or 2021, I believe, we got rid of it. It was all banged up anyway, so there was no real point. So we got rid of that, and when I became a content creator, I bought this shitty $100 Amazon desk that I don't know how has still held up, especially after all my raging and bashing it. That's my PC, my computer, that I make my content on and have for the past half a decade now. And this is where I've sat 8 hours a day for, like I said, over 5 years now. This is my desk. Oh, there's one of my other children. His name's Wallace. We call him Wally. Yeah, he looks like a Wally, doesn't he? Of course, we got the infamous $800 Minecraft chair. It definitely gets worn out and stuff a lot because I'm in it so often at the desk editing. Oh, and it was a phenomenal tax write-off too, so. But if you guys ever wanted to know, this is the perspective of Nightwing 7974. Oh boy, I gotta take my roast out. Of course, my rinky-dink, banged-up headset. I've had this since 2020. I want to say it's like 6 years old now. And it still somehow works. I've always taken good care of a lot of my devices and electronics and stuff, so I've been able to make this thing last a while. Even you can see the paint's chipping really bad on there. As you can see, of course, Grand Theft Auto 6 is my wallpaper and has been for some time now. It's a game that means a lot to me. It's a game that a lot of my childhood is in because I spent so much time playing GTA 5, and this game and the Grand Theft Auto series as a whole is something that means a lot to me. Fortunately, I'm not going to be able to play it here. This was a picture that my mom had taken where she got him to smile. And I keep this on my desk every time so I could see a smile. And this was one of the moments where his dementia wasn't as active. He was there for this one, and just seeing him smile, it didn't happen often, but he was so happy this day, and my mom wanted to make sure she got a picture with him. And this right here is one of the harder pictures to look at, mainly because every time I see him smiling, I wish he was in front of me and I wish he was here. It's one of the parts of grieving that is so damn difficult. it just makes you want to reach into the picture and hold them. So I keep this one here, because not only is it my mom, it's also my grandfather. And I don't know what I'd do without them. This, you guys have definitely probably seen this picture a lot, because we've, I say we, but I've used this picture a lot. This was when we celebrated his birthday with him. Yeah, we were the ones here with him. And I got a fortune cookie one day, and it says value experiences over possessions, which is something my family should have fucking done. So I think that very much applies to them. But at the same time, they didn't really have many experiences with my grandfather in the later years of his life. I also try to take a little inspiration from this, and it's because of the house and whatnot. And I keep trying to think of, you know, the memories don't go away when the house is gone. The memories stay with you. That's one of the coping ways I've been trying to look at grieving. It's not easy. It's very fucking difficult, actually. Especially considering I've done so much to try and save this house, because I know what my grandfather would have wanted. And this 110% isn't what he would have wanted. So I always have them watching over me on my desk, so they can watch me work, and so my grandfather can see how far I've come, not just as a creator, but also a human being. That right there is the letter that I wrote to him when he was in rehab after he fell down the stairs in 2020. Here's a little Art the Clown Christmas tree ornament that my mom gave me last year. So I've just kept it on my desk. This right here is something that also means a lot to me. I was given this on Halloween by a group of people who loved my performance as Art the Clown here in the community. They told me I made their night, and they came back and they gave me one of these and thanked me. They sat there watching me perform and stuff for them, and it's one of my favorite things to do every year on Halloween for my community, and you know, just to give them a performance that they'll remember, give them a night that they'll remember. And I made their night, I gave them a night to remember, and in return they gave me something I can remember forever, especially considering now that this was my last Halloween here. Something I'll always hold on to. This right here is the main hallway, at least for the house. I just want to record as much as I can here before everything gets taken out. This was our pantry and everything. It's where I'd, you know, get stuff to make dinner. There used to be a little grabber thing that my grandfather would use to reach like the top shelves and stuff. And when I was a little boy, I would always take that little grabber and I would play with it. I went through a couple of them, but if I ever find the original one that he used to use, I'll show it off here. This was our laundry room. That door leads out to the garage. And yeah, this is where my mom has done laundry for the past over 2 decades now. Fun fact, I never drank any of these, obviously, but when I was a little kid, these things always fascinated me. I always loved the really bright colors, and I would, whenever my mom would be in here doing the wash, I would come in here and I'd always want to watch her pour it in, because the color was always so cool to me, and the smell obviously was great. So I would always watch her do this. I'd sit right here on the floor, and I'd watch her do the laundry, and my favorite part was pouring the detergent. This is also where we've taken them down, but this is where my grandfather would have the calendar that he would always mark, and he'd always come over here, and he would sit, look at the calendar, mark down whatever he needed to mark down, and there were quite a few times where he would always buy like the WWE, the wrestling calendars for me as well, and he would have that up here, and he'd be marking down everything, and he would stand right here. And fun fact, this might sound crazy, but in my entirety of the 22 years I've lived here, I don't think I've ever seen this door closed. I know that might sound crazy, but I don't think I've ever seen this entire laundry room like with the door closed. And that's really, really weird. That's like astronomically weird. The door has always just been open like this. This door was very rarely ever closed. This right here is the main area. The kitchen table, and the living room. Or the family room. I don't know, I've always gotten those two confused. I was never able to tell the difference between what was the family room and what was the living room, but I've always just considered this the living room. This is the same chair that my grandmother had passed away in, and up until very recently it remained exactly how it was when she had died back in 2007, because my mom couldn't bring herself to change it or do anything with it. This is the same exact Christmas tree that my mom set up every year. The same one. And a few months ago we celebrated our last Christmas here. Normally it wasn't in here, or I guess this is where I think my mom told me this is where my grandmother used to set it up, but when I was little she would always set it up over in the other room, the family room. But last year my mom decided to put it here. Yeah, it's a sliding glass door back there, but that's always scared the shit out of me because we've always had an open backyard, and anybody can just walk up and just smash that glass door and boom, they'd be in the house. Yeah, that's one of the things my grandfather always regretted. He regretted not fencing in that backyard. So yeah, it's always one of the things that's scared me here. It's the same coffee table that's been here for God knows how long. That's my girlfriend's Xbox right there. Obviously not been there that long. But what has been here for a while are all my Wii games and my Xbox, a couple Xbox 360 games that I had down here. This is where my Wii was hooked up. Obviously didn't have the giant TV here. That was new. The old TV, we had a really old TV that's actually out in the garage right now. And this is where I would sit playing my Wii, my Xbox, and it was on a big ass brick of a TV. You should have seen it. It was like, oh god, it was like one of those old 90s TVs, or it has to weigh like 400, 500 pounds, dude. You have no idea. And I would sit right here, and I'd play. One of the memories that I have, at least here on this couch, was I remember I was laying down right here, and I was playing my DS, and I believe this was around like 2011, I want to say, and I felt an earthquake for the first time, and I was wondering what the hell was going on. And this is where I was. This is also where I watched of course, the GTA 6, the first trailer, back in 2023. We had just gotten home from a dinner, and I had sat here, and then next thing you know, the trailer leaked, and I was sitting here watching it. Of course, seagulls, lighthouses. My grandparents loved lighthouses. My mom as well. So we have a lot of, like, of course, shore stuff. That right there is the fireplace. My grandparents wanted a fireplace, or I believe it was mainly my grandmother that had wanted one, because my grandfather, he was very, very picky with this damn thing. It would only ever be lit on like special occasions like Christmas Eve and whatnot. Sadly, I never got to see it lit, or at least wasn't conscious enough to see it lit. And that's one of the most depressing things that is going to be hurting me when we leave here, is I'm never going to be able to see what that fireplace looked like when it was lit. You know, for being that this fireplace was here, it was rarely ever used, and I don't think it has been lit since my grandmother passed away. If you look up, we've got a giant slope here with just a whole bunch of open space up here. I've always wondered, like, those lights I don't think have ever went out. And I've always wondered and questioned to myself. I even had this conversation with my mom at one point. Like, if those lights ever burn out, how the hell are you gonna, replace them? Obviously a ladder. But just the fact that it's like big enough, tall enough here to get a ladder is just insane. I always liked it. Right up here is my room, I believe. This is my room, and this is right beyond that ceiling is where I'd lay down every single day. One of the hardest things about what we're going through right now, my piece of shit family. My grandfather's been gone for a couple years now, 2023, and they had all the time in the world to come here or request things from the house. Literally years they've had. And they did not give their list of their demands or requests from the will and the estate until this month. Until this month, they didn't do it until they had all this time in the world to do it, and they waited until the very last minute. And a little bit of education for all of you. All this stuff is considered assets of the house. So we could not sell or get rid of anything until they gave what they wanted from the house. So not only are they selling this place, they're also unfortunately entitled to whatever the fuck they want in here. And they waited until the last minute to do anything or request anything, which has left my mom and I with very minimal time to clear the entire house out. This is what the house looks like. The closing is next week, by the way. We had to call a junk company they're going to be clearing out this entire house. So by this time next week, this entire house will have been completely empty. And a lot of it's going to get thrown out, a lot of it's going to get trashed, because they left my mom and I with no time to do an estate sale. I couldn't even take out a lot of my own things because I've lived here my whole life and they have become assets of the house. So if I were to take out any of my own belongings or like sell any of my own stuff, I could get sued, and I could get in trouble, because technically speaking, my belongings and everything that I have in this house, unless I have a receipt to prove it, isn't mine. So they have basically made it to where we have to throw a lot of this away because we can't take everything, we can't sell everything. They left us with very little time. So a lot of these memories and stuff, like, we've completely filled up a storage locker. All these old memories are getting thrown away. All this old furniture that holds a lot of nostalgia and a lot of warmth and comfort to me, my mom, it's all getting thrown away. And there's nothing that we can do about it, and it's all because of my family. We really couldn't even begin packing all too much until just recently when they sent their stupid fucking lawyer their letter confirming, oh, they got whatever they wanted. There used to be a recliner here that I would always sit on to watch TV with my grandfather. That's not here and that hasn't been here for a long time. So just things like the printer is here now. This right here, this was my grandfather's chair. This is where he would eat dinner every day that my mom made. My mom would make him dinner every single day, would make him lunch every single day. This is where he would sit down and eat before he got sick. In this exact chair. That's now, of course, going in the trash. He would sit here and I would sit right there and I would eat dinner with him. And one of the things that I'd always do is whenever my mom made us pasta salad, I would scare the shit out of my mom when I was like 10, 11 years old. I would sit there and I would take the pieces of pasta, I wouldn't chew it, and I would swallow it. And it would scare the crap out of my mom. And she'd be in the kitchen right there watching, and she would yell at me to stop doing that because she'd be afraid I was choking or would choke. And my grandfather would sit here and he would find it hysterical. He would laugh so hard at my mom flipping her lid. One of the other things that I loved eating dinner with my grandfather at this table is when I would sit over there and I would, my mom would make like spaghetti and meatballs or anything with like Italian, red sauce or whatnot. I would take the grated Parmesan, the packaged grated Parmesan, and I would pour so much of it over my meatballs and my pasta. I would drown it in Parmesan, and my grandfather would sit here and he'd look at my plate and his eyes would bug out of his head. He would think I was doing it as a joke, but no, that's literally just how I ate my pasta. And he thought it was a joke at first, but when he saw me continuously doing it, I remember he would, I'd see him come home from the store and, he's taken some of the items that he bought out and he's got 2 containers of Parmesan in there. And my mom would be like, what are you getting 2 containers of Parmesan for? And he would point to me and he's like, he would eat it all. And I wanted to make sure he had enough. wanted to make sure that I had enough. And right there is my grandfather and my grandmother. Yeah, this is where my grandfather and me would have dinner every single day. And then after he would eat his dinner, he would just march that way and go right up the stairs and lay down. You might recognize this bracelet. These bracelets, this is the last one that I have. I think it was 3rd grade, so I think this was like 2013. My school was doing a fundraiser for someone with cancer, and they were handing out these bracelets. They were $5 a piece, and all the money raised went to a charity. And my mom gave me enough money to get a bracelet for myself, for her, for my grandfather, and this was my grandfather's, the one that I got for him. I wore this Dream and Believe bracelet every single day for years. I started wearing it after my grandfather fell down the stairs. I had this as a symbol of him, and I wore it all the way up until he took his last breath. This became even more important to me after he, in the later years of his life, after he had fell down the stairs, the doctors discovered that he had prostate cancer. That he had cancer, and that just made me never want to take this off. I had this, and this was the one that I had got for him, and I'm seriously considering taking it out and wearing it again. Because right now I feel like I need to do that. I need to believe that he's here with me. Because right now I'm just so lost. Just so lost. This was our kitchen countertop. It's a little bit messy from dinner earlier, but this is where my mom made meals for my grandfather and I every single day. And before that, this is where my grandmother would make her meals every single day. And one of the memories, and this is gonna sound weird to you guys, of course, but parsley, right? When my mom or my grandmother would make chop parsley, and they'd cut it, and they moved it along the side with the knife and pushed it to the side. I would always say snowplow, because like the way the knife moved the parsley was very reminiscent to me of how a snowplow pushes snow. So I would always stand right here and I would say snowplow every time. And for probably the rest of my life, every time I smell parsley, my brain's just gonna come right back to right here. Right here. Same oven that's been here for decades, that my mom used. Always try to keep it as clean as possible. It's difficult sometimes because stoves are always get dirty, but this is where and for the past over half a decade, this is where I would cook. This is where I would make all my meals for my mom, my girlfriend, and it's where I made my grandfather's last Thanksgiving Day meal. I made it right on this stove and in this oven. And I feel so honored and so happy to know that I gave him the best last Thanksgiving meal that he could have ever asked for. And I feel like nobody else in this family could have ever done anything like that. This here was the fridge, of course. This is where, obviously, my mom put a lot of her Wizard of Oz magnets. She's always been obsessed with the Wizard of Oz, so there was always Wizard of Oz magnets everywhere. A couple of these my grandmother put on here. I don't know exactly which ones. If you look right here, this is a chorus thing, and it's insane because I can point myself out so easily. That was right there. This was a Hulk thing that my mom drew for me because I had a t-shirt that had the Hulk on it, because the Hulk was like my favorite superhero when I was a little kid. I had a Hulk t-shirt and it was black, and my mom drew this for me, and I told her to put it on the refrigerator. And yeah, that's probably like, God, I don't know how old, like 15 years old. Transformers, of course, I love Transformers, Optimus Prime, everywhere. My grandfather was a big Yankees fan. There's Bumblebee, he was always my favorite. And obviously a bunch of my elementary school projects that I have, that I did when I was a little kid. My Christmas bear, my snowman that I made. I don't know if my mom dated that, but that's old. A bear that I made. My mom and my grandfather, they put me in the newspaper during I don't know how or when, but 6th birthday, so this had to have been 2009, August of 2009. My mom and my grandfather got me a spot in the paper to say happy birthday to me, and that right there is my Bumblebee blaster, my favorite Bumblebee toy that was out in the front yard. You know, I've been covering my childhood face, you know, because whatever, but for this, if you ever wanted to see what I looked like as a little kid, there I am. And that was taken right here. It's crazy, isn't it? Think about right here where I'm standing. I cannot tell you how much this fucking hurts. I cannot tell you how much pain I'm in looking at this. And I understand, you know, people might say, oh, it's just a house, or, you know, it's good to let things like this go. And I do agree, you know, you have to move on in life. But the fact that this is the way that it's moving on, with a whole bunch of this stuff getting thrown in the trash,
Is it wrong for me to cry? Is it bad for me to feel this way? My brain is just so fucking fried. This is what family does. This right here. This is what family fucking does to you. My heart is completely fucking shattered. And I struggle to, like, think in my head, how the fuck are we the bad people here to them? How? Because we just wanted to live our lives. Just live how we... just carry on. But no. No, we have to move on the way they want us to. And I'm so angry. I'm so angry that this is how it ended. Because I know this is not what my grandfather would have wanted. If you told me 6 years ago that I'd be sitting here on the floor of my childhood home with everything in my life packed into those boxes, saying my last goodbyes, I'd find it so hard to believe. We were never given our time to grieve. We were never given our time to cope with the trauma and the stress that we've been going through for the past 6 years. We haven't had any time. So much pain and so much heartache. And then you have my piece of shit family talking to their lawyer, telling them about how they're going around the world and they're taking all these vacations and shit. And while they're doing that shit, we're just right fucking here. Right fucking here. This is our break. This is our vacation. My family doesn't want anyone to see this. They don't want you to see what they're fucking doing. I've been threatened with legal action. I've been threatened, told that they were going to confront me here so I could say all this shit to their face, and when I had no problem in doing that, they just never showed up. They don't want you to see that this is what family is. Of course, we have a lot of shit out right now. Just trying our best to go through everything. This right here was the family room, living room. Again, I don't know. I never was able to tell a difference between the fucking names, like I said earlier. But this is right here. This is where my mom set the tree up every Christmas. The couch was right there, and the tree would go up right here. And I would sit on this floor every Christmas and open my gifts. Just my grandfather, my mom, and I. And my grandfather would stand right there or right here with a hot cup of coffee in his hand, with his hand in his pocket, and watching me open my gifts. I'd be right here. I remember one year, during Christmas, I was so unbelievably sick. I think I was like 9 to 10 years old. I got a stomach virus and an ear infection and strep all at the same time. I felt like I was dying, and I laid up in my room and I did not get out of bed. You know, that's a core memory that I remember. And it was Christmas morning, and my mom could not get me out of bed. Do you know how sick a child has to be? A 10-year-old child has to be to not want to come downstairs and open gifts in the morning of Christmas? Do you know how sick you'd have to be? I was that sick. My grandfather was here, and he said he was just completely shocked. He said he never seen anything like it before. Eventually, I did come down at like, I want to say like noon, 1 p.m., somewhere around there to open gifts. But I wasn't happy, I'll tell you that. Right here is where I would have my Polar Express train set that I would have wrapped around the Christmas tree. And I don't know if it's still over there, but, you know, I grew up loving trains when I was a little boy, and the Polar Express was my favorite movie, and I had a little replica Polar Express toy set that I had, and it was remote control, and you can bring it around the tree, and I would sit there, and I would play with it, right there. Actually, as a matter of fact, if you look, although it's not Polar Express, that's Thomas right there. I love Thomas. Now, these walls weren't always this blue. They were always white. But in 2021, my mom came down and painted some of the walls blue. This was my grandfather's favorite color, like a navy blue, dark blue type. She had painted all the walls blue, and when my grandfather was sick and he was bedbound, my mom brought him down so she can show him all the new colors and stuff that she put down here. And my grandfather loved it. It was his favorite color. This is, although not everything, this is majority of the stuff that was in my room. We're still packing. We're still putting more in boxes. But yeah, this is what 22 years of memories look like. It's hard to believe it, but that's my whole life so far. All in those boxes. It's currently the early morning hours of, God, I don't even know, the 26th. And we have a whole lot of stuff by the curb ready to get thrown out. These are boxes, all boxes that still need to go. This is what the house currently looks like. And this is the kitchen, or what's left of it. Those are 2 more boxes, my shirts and stuff. Today, everything's getting cleaned out. The walkthrough is tomorrow, so everything's got to be out of the house. And these are the things from the kitchen I'm taking. And this is the living room. I haven't sat down in close to 12 hours. And every single minute hurts. Every single fucking minute hurts. My body is in so much pain. And you don't even want to know what's going on in my head. And what sucks is that 70-inch TV, we can't take it. That beautiful TV, it's getting thrown away. Because where I'm going, I don't have space for it. Where my mom's going, she has no space for it. She's paying $300 a month for a storage unit, a big one, and she told me that it's completely full. I caved in and I bought a storage unit last night. I haven't been over the area yet. We're probably gonna have to go there today. You guys saw earlier those extra large boxes. I have about 12 to 15 of them. This is how we spend our Memorial Day weekend. Well, I guarantee you the rest of my family are probably out recovering from hangovers, maybe. Who fucking knows? They probably spent the entire weekend relaxing, throwing drinks back, having a grand old fucking time. While this is what we've been dealing with. 3 years after my grandfather's passing, and we still don't get a fucking break while they do. While they fucking do. It's 5:30 in the morning. I've been packing and doing shit for, I don't even know how long I've been awake. I don't even know. I sat up in my grandfather's room, bawling my goddamn eyes out. And I just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, over and over and over again. Not only are my bones and everything aching, my face, every time I speak it hurts because my entire face hurts to move because I've been crying too much. I honestly, truly believe I am at a new low point in my life. It's so hard for me to keep going. You really have no idea. Those are 2 bins of toys that I still have to get put away in boxes. Childhood toys that I either have to pack up or throw away. Just a whole bunch of toys I used to play with when I was little. Just throwing the fuck away. Every little memory just thrown away. A whole bunch of comic books over there I have to go through. A whole bunch of books. My grandfather bought me a lot of these comic books. Every time we'd go to the flea market, he'd take me into the comic store and he'd buy me as many comic books as he could. I might have to throw them away. I was sitting here tearing up because I saved, or I guess every time my grandfather would read the newspaper, and he saw anything wrestling related in it, no matter what. Anytime he saw anything wrestling related, he cut it out and he gave it to me, and we talked about it. That's from 2017, that's 9 years ago. He would cut out all these wrestling things for me. And we would talk about it. And I had this tucked away in this wrestling book here. I found this tucked away in one of my books of something I drew when I was a little kid. Survived the night, and there's a creeper, an enderman, zombie. I think that's supposed to be Steve in the center. And yeah, I'm finding shit like this while my body's in pain, and I'm finding things like this and it's fucking me up mentally. Even all the things we packed, I don't know if we're gonna be able to even get everything out of the house today. And my mom told me that if the house isn't fully cleaned out by the time of the walkthrough, we can get sued, get in serious trouble, fines, all because my family waited until this fucking month to put in their will requests, something they could have done years ago. We couldn't move anything out of here until now. And you know, I didn't mention it, but right here, this exact spot, my girlfriend and I shared our first kiss together. Right here. And God, I guess I'm not doing myself any favors recording these and talking about it, but I took down as much of the personal things that I had on here on the fridge that I showed you guys earlier. Removing magnets that hadn't been removed in decades. All these wall pieces. All this is getting thrown away. Beautiful, beautiful things just getting tossed away. And I found this earlier. This was a picture that I actually took using my mom's camera. And that was in the recliner that was right here. And this picture was taken about here. I don't know, I can't really line it up that well. Maybe with the fireplace. Yeah, it's about right there. I took my mom's camera and I always loved my toys when I was little. And I took a picture of everything. That was right here. What's happened here is vile, disgusting, and just downright sickening. You can't see it, but I'm literally just laying on the goddamn floor. I am at the end of my fucking rope. I would not wish this feeling on my greatest enemy. And I don't say that lightly. The emotions that I feel right now, the pain that I feel, it is so overwhelming. The stress is so overwhelming. I don't know how I am going to be able to function after all of this. I really, really fucking don't. I'm so afraid. You know, I don't know how the buyers are going to be. I haven't gotten the opportunity to speak with them. They wanted to move in a week earlier on the 22nd. But obviously they couldn't because we were still here. We still had to do a whole bunch of packing. We are pushing it to the absolute end. We've been trying our fucking best. And I just don't know if it's enough. My goal was to try and form some relationship with the buyers so I can come back and, and see the place every once in a while, have that positive friendship in my life. So I could still see this place. But I don't know how they are. I don't know how they're gonna react. They're not aware of anything that's happened here. And I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. I've had to rehash over and over again my entire life story from the past 6 years. So many times to people. And you'd think it'd get easier every time you'd, talk about it, but just the more and more I talk about it, the worse and worse I feel. I've been awake over 24 hours. And the last time I slept, I only got 3 hours. I can't even take a second to cherish this last day that I have here. I can't. I can't even try to take a moment to breathe and take it all in before it's gone. It's the same morning, the morning of Tuesday, the 26th. This is what my room looks like now. We have pretty much damn near everything already packed up. My closet, my once chaotic, very hectic closet has now been fully cleaned out pretty much. So there's just a few things left. And of course my stupid fucking Minecraft Crocs are right there. This is what a lot of my other stuff looks like right now. God, it's so fucking chaotic. You have no idea. But I just wanted to share this with you guys. This is the top of the stairs. This is the same, flight of stairs that my grandfather had fell down. He fell from about right here all the way down to the bottom. I stand here at the top, and that day is just so rich in my head. You have no idea. But I used to sit right here up at the top of the stairs. I used to take my blanket and Don't try this at home. I'm doing it one last time for old time's sake. I would take my blanket and I would just... Whoa! Oh, I definitely gave my legs a severe rug burn. And that's what I would do. I would pretend I was driving a car right from the top of the steps, and I would slide down. Not hurt myself, though. Not hurt myself. My legs are on fire right now, but you know, that was worth it. That was worth it. Right here, this is the front door. And this was the view I would always have when I was real little. I would lay my blanket out right here, and I would wait for the trash truck to come. I'd sit right here, and I would watch as the trash truck comes, picks up the bins, whisks them high up into the air, and then slams them down. I was so fascinated by that, you have no idea. This was our backyard. I can't tell you how many Nerf gun wars my childhood friends and I would have here. Oh my god. This was our shed. There's still a lot of old toys of mine in there that I'm probably just gonna lose. A lot of Nerf guns, a lot of other stuff. Hey, squirrel. But yeah, I'm probably gonna lose a lot there. Right here somewhere, I believe it was right here, laid my first pets. I had quite a few hermit crabs and stuff that I had as pets, and of course, little kid being the first experience kind of with death, I was distraught over them. I remember coming home from school one day and seeing my hermit crab's cage outside, and my mom was burying him right here, right as I got home from school. Yeah, that's that was pretty tough, but yeah, somewhere around here is where they're buried. And I made a little stick cross that is probably long gone now, considering that was like 7 to 8 years ago. But the little Fisher boy. You know, I never asked my mom who put that there. I don't know if my grandmother put that there or what. But yeah, he's been sitting here for a really long time, still fishing with that stick. Wonder if he caught anything. My mom had a couple of these owls scattered around the backyard. At least I believe it was my mom that put them there. I don't know the full reason why she put them here. If I had to take a guess, it was probably to, you know, ward off squirrels or like any other, you know, pests, you know, that are afraid of owls. Yeah. And that's my backyard. Take one last open look at it. And, oh boy. This angles up to be right about here. Right there. It's my grandfather. I don't know how old I was there, but obviously very young. And those trees were obviously very young. So this had to have been like very early 2000s, mid 2000s maybe. And those trees are here still to this day, taller than ever.
I'll never forget during one of the hurricanes, my bedroom is right there. That was my bedroom. Never forget, I was always afraid that one of these trees were gonna fall down and just smash right into my room. Thankfully, they obviously never did, but there were a few times during hurricanes where I genuinely felt like it was going to happen. But man, I think that I was born and raised right up there. Wow. All these trees in general got really, really tall. Like, I'm struggling to even position it. But yeah, these trees got really, really tall over the years, and my grandfather, he wanted for the longest time to cut some of them down, but my mom never let him. And you know, I love my grandfather, I really do, but I think my mom had the right call there, because the trees are beautiful. I don't know if the new owners are going to keep them up or chop them down. But yeah, that was one thing that my mom insisted to my grandfather that he didn't do. I think he might have done the same with my grandmother too, and I think she reacted the same way. But yeah. Right here, behind the shed, I remember I was digging a hole. I was digging a hole right over there. Also, God, I'm really fucking white. I got Irish blood in me, so it's hard to tan. But I had a hole that I would dig right there, and I would dig and dig and dig and dig, and a couple of my friends would help me dig that hole, and my end goal was to get to China. Obviously, I feel like every kid had that goal at some point in their life. So, unfortunately, I never made it to China, but, you know, I did in Plants vs. Zombies, so if that means anything. Yeah. Maybe one day I'll get to China eventually. Just gotta keep digging. Don't worry. I don't know when. I will get to you. You know, I have a really funny memory back here. So not only was like right around here where but my mom would set up a little kiddie pool right here for me. And I would play in the kiddie pool here, but the other thing, right here is the hose. This was where the hose was, and my mom loved as a joke spraying me with the hose during the summer, and I both liked and hated it. It was one of those things where, you know, I liked getting sprayed with the hose on those hot days, but there were other days where, you know, I tried to fight her, and I tried to turn that hose off. But one day, when I went to go turn it off, she ran up to it, and she tried to, you know, stop me from turning it and twisted it back. But when she did, my finger got caught right here when she twisted it and sliced my finger open, and it got stuck in the little hose thing, and my finger was gushing blood. I was crying out of my mind. I remember standing in front of the bathroom sink crying my fucking eyes out like I feel like I'm about to do right now. So yeah, lesson learned. Don't mess with mom and the hose, huh? A few years ago, my girlfriend and I decided to eat outside for 4th of July here. It was just the two of us, and I made us hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. And we sat out here into the night, and we watched fireworks and stuff.
See, that's a key memory that I wanted to remember. During the winter, when it would snow, beautiful icicles would spawn right up there, and my mom always took pictures of them. I don't know if I have any on hand, but absolutely beautiful icicles that would spawn there. This is where my mom would dry the clothes. She never really ever used the dryer. She always made sure to use the drying rack out here, which I guess is a good reason why a lot of my clothes are in really good shape, so I have my mom to thank for that. This was the bin that she always, oh my god, all the little clothes pins and stuff. I used to play with those all the time. I don't know why. I had so many toys, and yet I always came out here and I played with the clothespins. I don't even think God knows the answer to why I did that. I would also, when the AC was on, sit here in front of the fan and go, and hear my voice reverberate and make all the weird sounds. Yeah, that was really fucking dangerous, wasn't it? See this right here. So much getting thrown out. That dog scared the crap out of me. That's my old book bag. Oh my god. This was the old Christmas tree I used to have in my room, but we don't have the space for it, so it has to go. Whole bunch of other stuff, you know. Hard to let go. That was one of my old sleds that I used to use whenever I was little to go sledding. Can't take that. One of my grandfather's old Yankee hats. I don't know if I can leave this out here. It's just, it's heartbreaking. It's actually heartbreaking. It's one last goodbye. I'd spend the summer of 2024 and 2025 sitting in that driveway just waiting for the day. No, just waiting for when this day would come. This was the driveway. The same driveway I played on when I was little. Drew chalk on. Slid my toy trains down the slope. Building snow forts out here. I had a big snow fort right here. And that right there was my grandfather's room. That right there was my grandfather's room. It's where he woke up every day, it's where he went to sleep every day, and that's where he went. For those of you who didn't know or didn't remember, he was a U.S. Air Force veteran, and we've kept that flag up all these years in honor of him. If I had the opportunity to stay here, and I said this years ago, if I had the chance to, I would have planted a Japanese maple right there. That was his favorite tree, the Japanese maple. And I was gonna plant one right there. I feel like I should have. There's already trees and stuff over there. I wish I had done that a couple years ago. One thing I hope the new owners do is he has a candle. He always had a candle up in the window, and it was always lit. I'm going to leave a note for the new owners, and I'm going to tell them to make sure that there's always a candle lit in his window every night. One last view of my grandfather's bedroom. Yeah. I used to come in here at night and use his bathroom because I'd be too afraid to use the one out in the hallway. So I would come in here and I would knock on his door and I'd ask if I can use his bathroom, so I didn't have to be scared at night. And I woke him up a few times, but something tells me that he's grateful for that. I used to come in here and I would step on that scale, I would weigh myself. And this is the bathroom. And I would always come in when I was little. That's his back scratcher, the same back scratcher he always used, and I would steal it from him and I would play with it and I would use it as a sword. And he'd always ask where his back scratcher went. This is the shower where we bathed him. I just wish I had some sign that he was here. Some sign that he could see all of this and see what our family has done. Because I know he wouldn't have liked this. That's his hoodie. That's one of the hoodies he'd always wear when it was cold. This was him and my grandmother on the day they got married. They look so great together. This was the wall that we had all of the pictures of the family on when one of the pieces of shit in our family waltzed in here being a smartass, questioning, "Oh, why are you putting pictures on the wall of a dementia patient?" Yeah. That's the kind of people we're dealing with here. This was his radio that he'd used to listen to music every night. I'm taking this with me, definitely. So I was just going through my grandfather's dresser and of course finding a picture of when he was in the military. Look here. Look at that. Frank Sinatra. He loved Frank Sinatra. That's why I use a lot of his music whenever I talk about him. Well, everyone, here it is. Everything is gone. Or pretty much damn near everything. Fun fact, I don't think I've ever seen those windows without curtains before. We got so much more stuff out by the curb. Everything just gone. Tomorrow's the closing. The new owners will be here. And this is it. This is my final goodbye. This was the notebook that my mom would write letters about my grandfather to help cope with grieving. She gave that to me here. So I'm taking this with me. It's just me and my girlfriend here right now before we get picked up by Chris and his girlfriend. The kitchen still has some stuff in there and everything. But yeah. And then here's the letter I'm leaving for the new owners. I hope they understand what we've been through. And I really hope this isn't the last time I get to see everything. Wow. the biggest shock to me, or at least the first biggest shock, was when I came in here into the, oh my god, the laundry room, and I heard the echo. The echo really fucked with my head. And it's still messing with my head. And then up the stairs. This was my mom's room. Or what's left of it. Again, I've never seen those windows without curtains, so it's really throwing me for a loop here. And then here is the hallway. They haven't cleaned out the bathroom fully yet. The spare bedroom, completely gutted. And then, oh my god. This was my room. That's all the stuff I'm leaving behind, mostly just trash. And, here's what's left of my room before it's gone. The same bed that we've slept in for years. My closet, completely empty. Thank God, I have a decent sized storage unit I had to buy, but we got everything in there. Thank God. That's where my desk was. And for one last time, just take it all in. Just get it all in. For 22 years. And I closed the door for the last time. There it is. Goodbye. And now, the last place. My grandfather's room. I and all that's left is the same chair that I would sit in. Talk to him too.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course along the byway.
I just need to sit here and
much more than this.
Take it all in.
I did it my way. The record shows I took the blows and did it my Yes, it was my way.
Goodbye, Papa. I love you.
Hello, everyone. I'm currently moved in with my childhood friend Chris, or you might know him as Ford from my Slam City series here on YouTube. And, yeah. This is how my life is right now. Bit of a crazy ride, isn't it? I want to take a second to wish you guys a very happy Father's Day. You know, I didn't have a father growing up most of my life, but I know the closest thing I had to a father is looking down right now, and thank you for being one of the best people I've ever had in my entire life, Pop-Pop. Thank you for being that father figure that I needed my entire life, and I genuinely don't think I could have done it without you. I got a little friend here with me. Say hi. Oh my god, you are so adorable. Ugh, this past month has been one of the most... Actually, you know what? Honestly, I would say this month alone has been the most hectic of my entire goddamn life. You have no idea. There's a lot that I haven't fully shared yet, especially in the details on how the day of the closing went, which was an absolute disaster. But I just wanted to take a second to thank all of you for being with me on this journey, helping me get through the roughest years of my entire life, and that I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, could not have done it without all of you. And after all of that, I'm still back in the saddle. I'm still gonna be making content, still gonna be making videos for all of you guys, because not only is this whole thing, not only does it mean the absolute world to me, but I made a promise to someone very special that I wouldn't stop and I wouldn't give up. That chapter of my life has now concluded, and I'm very fortunate, and never thought I'd say this, but I'm still standing. I don't know how, but I'm still here. But I know you guys, above all, probably want to know how I'm doing. I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. Still trying to adjust to this drastic shift that has just uprooted my life completely.
It's kind of a shock to my core. It's not easy to adjust, I'll tell you that, but I want to take a second to give my closing remarks, and because there's a few people that I definitely want to thank. To start, I want to introduce you guys to my real family. The people who have been by my side for the past 10 years of my life, and I honest to God don't know what I would do if I didn't have them with me. First and foremost, I would like to thank my friend Chris, who has stayed up with me during countless nights the past couple years, playing games with me, of course, above all, letting me stay here with him. Chris isn't a very sentimental person, but I just want him to know that if he sees this, thank you so much. You mean a lot to me, man. I want you to meet my friend Luke, or you guys might know him as Peach. Luke has been one of my best friends for, again, 10 years now, and it's only been about a year since we started talking again, even though he's always very busy, working his ass off trying to make sure our goddamn entire theme park is running every day. He still takes time out of his very busy day to talk to me, to play something with me, and to check in on me. So Luke, I love you, man, and I'm grateful to have you in my life. I'd like to thank Donovan. Donovan was there for me during the entire moving process, helping me take things to and from storage and helping us move. He is another person that if I didn't have, I don't know where I'd be. Thank you so much, Donovan. You made the most stressful time of my life just a tad bit less stressful, and for that, I am in your debt. Chris's girlfriend, Kirsten, as well. She was there with us, helping my girlfriend and I pack things and organize everything. She is another person who drastically helped us during this whole thing, and we couldn't have done it without her. Of course, my amazing, beautiful girlfriend, Leah, who I have been with for now 5 years of my life and has been with me throughout this entire thing. There were so many times, especially during the death of my grandfather, honest to God, would have fallen apart, and I don't know if I'd be here talking to you right now if it wasn't for her. She had to put up with a lot of heinous shit that my family was spewing behind our back too. She ultimately signed up for a lot more than she ever asked for, but she never hesitated to help, be there, and kick ass with me every step of the way. Leah, I love you, and thank you for being in my life. And of course, finally, above all, the big man upstairs, the man who I did all of this for, and the man that is going to continue to give me life until I have none left in my body. All of these people, including a few others, like my friends Hala and Duop. It's amazing how my friends who I met on Xbox have been there for me more and know me more than my actual blood family ever did. Which leads me to my closing remarks. There are a plethora of things that I've learned over the past few years of my life. Through so many experiences, through so much trauma and heartache, I have learned so much, so many things that are going to shape the future of my life. I want to take a second to highlight all of the people who have taken their time to personally reach out to me. So many viewers sharing their stories of what they've been through. So many similar stories that are very close to mine. So I want to take this time to deliver a message to all of you out there watching right now. Throughout your life, you are going to see things that you don't agree with, things that you see that you may feel is wrong, but oftentimes there is a factor in that stopping you from speaking up, and that's fear. When I stood up to my family, I was scared shitless because I saw something that was very visibly wrong, and I was speaking up against people that I looked up to my entire life. That was 2 years ago. And I'm sitting here right now telling you that I have absolutely zero regrets for fighting what I believe in. And even though things have ended the way that they did, I can rest assured and say that unlike what my family believes, my grandfather was proud of me. And I know what I've done in my heart was the right decision. When I was getting knives stabbed in my back, that did nothing but make me scream louder. So if you're afraid of something, but you know that what you have in your heart is right, fuck whatever anybody else says. You open your mouth and fight for what you believe in. Be so loud they can't ignore you. Because at the end of the day, you have more courage than anyone. Because you chose to not sit on the sidelines. Time is a limited resource. We only get so much of it. Cherish every single little memory that you have with those around you. Because those memories are not something that money can buy. And I would rather die tomorrow with a life that I remember than with a few $100 grand rotting in my bank account. Call your loved ones once a week, tell them that you love them, because you never know when you'll get that opportunity. And although the place that I've called home for my entire life is now gone, there's one thing for certain, that I only did have one childhood, and I made the fucking most of it.
Now, before you guys go, there's one last surprise that I have for all of you. Something that I've been working on for the past couple weeks now, and I want to show it to you guys. So without further ado, please enjoy. If you could grow old, would you find a reason to smile?
Clair-obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera effet. Clair-obscur, noir et haut, peinture, trouvera sans elle. Clair-obscur, trouble de rature, courbera effet. Clair-obscur, noir et haut, peinture, trouvera sans elle.
Don't you forget about me.